XDC Masternodes. I just started running a node back in beginning of February, and a lot of questions I get are in regards to how much XDC you need, what do you recommend for this, or what are the benefits of running a node. And I'm going to try to cover some of that in this video. This is my first YouTube video I'm making. I have no prior experience doing this, so I'm just doing my best with what I got, and trying to help you guys get familiar with how to go about getting a node if that's what you're trying to do. With that being said, this is no financial advice by any means. Do your research on what you're trying to invest on and learn as much as you can so you're familiar with what you're investing on and putting your hard-earned money on. So let's start with how much XDC you need to run a Masternode. This is off the XinFin.org website, and this website and many others have a lot of information in regards to XDC and how to go about running a Masternode. So to do so, you need 10 million XDC, and you're gonna able to set up a wallet on the website as well. It's a web wallet. You're also able to use a hardware wallet. I think that's actually coming. I don't think that's actually set up yet. You're also gonna need a dedicated and stable hardware environment. Initially, I started running my Masternode here at home because I have the means to do so. But with the price appreciation of XDC and the long-term hold I'm planning on, this setup at home is not going to be suitable for stream of income that I'm planning on. So I eventually have migrated my Masternode to a VPS server. That's a virtual private server. There are many options out there that you can choose from. I decided to go with Insoft.net. They're not paying me not to say their name on this channel. Just mentioning it because that's with the one I went with. I'll show you a couple things inside the options you have with two VPSs I'm currently using for different setups. But you're gonna need a dedicated static IP address. That's if you're running it from home, that's gonna be the IP address that shows on your modem. And of course, you need 100% network uptime by IDC network. Minimum tier 3 IDC environment. I'll show you a little bit of what that entails. And for cloud-based services, which what I'm using now, they're mentioning Amazon EC2, M3 large. And if you go to the Amazon website, the AWS website, you're gonna see these different options here and how much they cost. I don't have an account, so I can't really show you what that is, but you can do so in your time. So let's move on. The same website, XinFin.io, has a lot of information of the different wallets that you can use to store your XDC, the different exchanges that you can buy XDC from. And as you can see, the wallets supporting XDC right now are Gota, which I'm using for storing my rewards every month. My Masternode has a payout address, which that's where my XDC is getting deposited from my Masternode, and then I just moved that from my Gota wallet, and that's where I keep it for now. I do hold a little bit on Bitrue, just in case something happens and I need to sell a little bit of it, but other than that, I don't keep much crypto on exchanges. Another wallet that's supporting XDC at the moment is Decent Wallet. I don't own one, so I can't really tell you much about it. I'm sure there's a lot of videos out there that are explaining how to use it and the experience with it. Also, the hardware one for the same company. Moving on, the XinFin.org website has the setup masternode.php page that tells you how to set up a Masternode. I can say this is the most question asked a few times a day. And how do I set one up? The website right here has the one-click installer, which it is recommended by them, and I didn't use that one. I went with Docker. With Docker, it shows you your requirements to set up a Masternode. If you're running it at home and you were wondering, does my computer is capable of running a Masternode? More than likely, if you bought a computer in the past year or so, this is going to be possible with your setup. For a CPU, you need a 64-bit, 2 cores. Intel CPUs have at least 2 cores, so you more than likely, like I said, if you bought a computer recently in the past year or so, this is gonna meet your requirements as far as that. The disk, it is recommended to be a solid state drive SSD and 32 gigabyte RAM. I don't know if laptops, actually most laptops are able to run a Masternode at this moment. So going back to, I think is here when it's mentioning the Amazon EC2 M3 large, that this is basically what is mentioned. It's asking for a CPU 64-bit, 2 cores or more, an SSD with at least 300 gigabytes and a 32 gigabyte RAM capacity. So if you were wondering what that is, this is what it's asking for. Like I said, my setup here at home, I have way beyond this capacity, so I was able to run it from home. But with recent loss of power while I was gone from home, made me rethink my setup, especially with like I mentioned, the price appreciation of XDC and my future, thinking of how the Masternode is going to be a source of income for my future. I think I'd rather set up a VPS and not have to worry about those things, where a VPS can provide 100% uptime and I don't have to worry about things, especially if I decide to travel and something happens while I'm gone. I don't have to worry about all that. So the same website, XinFin.io, has frequently asked questions. It has a lot of the things that you might have questions on about XDC. So I'm just briefly touching on this so you guys know where to find answers to some of the questions you have about the project and what XDC is all about and what they're trying to accomplish. Right now, if another question I get asked is how much money is 10 million, or is this much money, 10 million XDC? All you have to do is go to Crypto Compare or any other website that has pricing for different tokens and see the pricing of XDC. So right now, current price, 10 million XDC is priced at $470,000 US dollars. So if you're wondering how much that is, 10 million XDC is $470,000. There's another website I found that has a setup on, actually a guide on how to set up a Masternode. This is a really decent explanation on how to set up the node. I think it has several links here on different things for the Slack public channel if you want to check that out, or the Telegram development community, which I'm currently part of. You can ask questions there. There are some developers present on the channel that can answer some of your questions, but I would highly recommend to visit the website here, XinFin.io or the XinFin.org, and you can click through and find most of the you're gonna find answers to most of your questions there. And like I mentioned, this setup, this guide here for a setup describes either the download, the one-click installer, or the Docker Compose. Like I said, I decided to go with this one when I did my setup. I'm familiar on how to set that up, so I didn't want to do the one-click installer, even though it's probably the easiest and of course recommended. I've seen the video for this one. It's fairly simple. I think it has this. I'm trying to find the short video that has. Yeah, I can't find it right now, but it has a video explaining how to do so for the Docker Compose and the one-click installer. And you have several options for different operating systems, such as Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, if you want to do so that way. If you're running your Masternode, or if you're going to run your Masternode on a VPS, the Windows is pretty simple. Linux, you have to run command lines, and that is described on here. This is what they call the hands-on guide. So this is exactly what I followed to set mine up. I plan on eventually doing another video here in the next couple of days and running these command lines and setting up a Masternode on a virtual machine. I have a VMware Workstation Pro that I can spin up a virtual machine and run these command lines and see what it looks like, and possibly even show you on the XinFin, I think it's called XinFin.network, where it shows all the Masternodes that are running. As you can see, this is my my Masternode with 17 peers connected to. You can see the different blocks and the time in milliseconds that it takes to respond to a block. I have a standby node. I don't have a core node. I wasn't early enough in the program or in the project to get a core node, so I have a standby node. With that being said, with the core, you get 10% rewards on your 10 million XDC, and with the standby node, you get 8%. So you can do the math on there, but for me, I get about 66,600 and change XDC every month as a reward for having my Masternode running, supporting the network. I have asked several times during AMAs, and they have said that they do plan to hopefully increase the amount of core nodes. So that means they're going to choose from some of the standby nodes and make them Masternodes, which that means, you know, the payout is 10% and you get paid daily versus monthly compared to a standby node. So if you're planning on a VPS service to run your Masternode, like I said, I decided to go with Insoft, and you have to log on to see the type of packages they have. So this is my account, and this is what they offer. They have two options: XinFin standby node for $40 a month, and you can see they're using Ubuntu 18.04 64 version with Docker, 2 core CPUs, 80 gigabyte SSD, and a 4 megabyte memory. So if you remember when I mentioned, I think it's this one, where it mentions the required, where did it go? I think it's, yeah, it's right here. See, 2 core, 32 RAM and 300 gigabytes. The XinFin.org says this as the minimum required, but the Insoft, and after asking one of the developers, 80 gigs is more than enough to run a Masternode. So, and I'm making an emphasis on the 80 gigabyte SSD. because I'll show you what Volter, I'm sorry, which is another VPS service provider, has as an option. So for the difference between the 40 and the 55 here is that this is for a Masternode, not a standby. I still don't know exactly the difference between. As you can see, they're both 2-core CPU, 80GB SSD, and 32 gig RAM. So I'm not quite positive of why the difference in pricing, but this is what they're offering. So I decided to go with this one after speaking with one of the developers, like I said. But I happened to check the pricing on Volter, and with I like their interface for their website better compared to the Insoft. But if you can see, you can choose, cloud compute, which is what you need, and I think you have more options, and you get a little more. Like I said, I would say options to set up your servers. You can set up the location where you want your node to be located at, and the server type, it's gotta be Ubuntu, and when you click on that, you can choose like the different versions and whatnot. So the latest version will be the 20.10, and the server size. So as you can see, the 80 gig SSD is $20 a month versus $55 on the Insoft. Same 2 CPU, 4096 megabyte memory, and 3000 gigabyte bandwidth. But because the XinFin website has Insoft as one of their, I wouldn't say recommended, but that's the one that they're mentioned on their site, I figured to go with them. Just my option. You don't have to do so. You can, go with AWS or any other service provider that you find suitable for your needs. Let's see what's here. One thing I wanted to mention, when I was running my Masternode at home, on the number of peers my Masternode was connected to never went past 9. As you can see, some of these nodes have 9 or 4. Mine never went past 9, and when I switched over to Insoft, and you can see their name right there, my Masternode now has 17 peers connected. So my assumption, and this is just me speaking, I have not confirmed this with anybody, I think that they peer your Masternode with the rest of Masternodes that they have on their services. That's just pure speculation. I have not verified it, so this is just me making the note in regards to the number of peers that your Masternode is connected to. Other than that, I think I've covered most of the questions that I've been asked over DM or on Twitter. So like I said, I plan on making another video to cover how to set up a Masternode if that's what you plan on doing, and running it from home versus paying someone to do so. One last thing I wanted to mention with Volter, you will have to run the command lines as stated on the guide here, or if you follow the Masternode setup, then you can see the command lines here. So if you use Volter, you will have to run the command lines on the server. So you would go to, actually let me show you real quick my products. I am running several Gala nodes and Masternodes on here, so let me just pick one so you can go to server details, but you can log on, and you will have to log on to your server with the details there. But if you're using Insoft, they will set up the Masternode for you, and I think that's one of the advantages as far as using Insoft versus any other service provider, that they're familiar with the XinFin Masternodes and they're able to basically set up from scratch your server, and you'll set up your wallet separately from that. But because I had already set up my Masternode here at home, all I did is some migration. All I had to provide him was the Coinbase address that is generated when you create your Masternode, and the key store that's also generated in your server when you run those command lines. But other than that, I think that's all I wanted to cover. If you have any questions, my DMs, every now and then I shut it off because I get way too many DMs, and it's usually the same questions over and over. So I sometimes shut it down. But if you have any questions, my DMs are open right now. And if you want to say something in regards to my video, that's cool too. I'm not making this video to make any profits. I'm just making the video to try to help some of you that have shown interest in running a Masternode for the XinFin network. As questions come up, and I try to address them in another video. So thank you very much for watching my video, and until next time.